Guys, first of all, so Windows server 1, our server. Here it is. You have to install a role called DHCP role. Okay, first point is how to install DHCP server. Okay, so you have to install role. Name is DHCP role. You have to install. So first thing, so we have to go to Windows Server and Alt Control Insert. admin@123. Yeah, this is the user kind of stuff. Not required now. So either you minimize or close. No. And this is the group policies and also not required. Group policies are completed. If it is required, then only we'll use it. Okay, next. Just tell me this is a server manager. Now I want to install
DHCP server.
DHCP server, right? So then in the server manager, where to go? How much that slow it is. Manage. Add roles and features. Manage. Add roles and features. Okay. Add roles and features. This wizard will open. Okay. So add roles and features wizard. So just now I'm going to again. So next. So this is DHCP server. Dynamic host configuration protocol server enables you to centrally configure, manage, provide temporary IP address and related information for client computers. And select it, add features. Done. Then select this option. Yes. Install. You have to click install. So that's it. So it will be installed automatically. So we go back to this. Install role DHCP server. Once it is installation, then what will happen? It shows configuration. Okay. Some configuration options kind of stuff it shows. We'll change that text. It is, guys, it will ask two things. One is DHCP administrators and DHCP users. Two groups it is ask you to create. It automatically creates. You need to create. So it will ask you to do you create like this. Okay. So member of DHCP administrators can enable to manage the DHCP server related things. Users can only view. The second one is authorize DHCP server. Authorize your DHCP server. Which authorize? AD authorize. Active Directory authorization. These are the two things it will ask in the configuration. Then what is this authorization? Guys, again, look at here. Yeah, here is a DHCP server is there, right? I am going to new one again. Here is a question. In my network, I have a 2 or more DHCP servers are there. Okay, so this is the DHCP server. This is my DHCP server. This is another DHCP server. Okay, this is a client. This is the client. Okay, both can able to give IP address, right? So this is also give IP address. This is also give IP address. Of course, you are broadcasting a discovery packet. Both are getting discovery packet. So both servers are trying to give the IP address. Both IP addresses came at you, and which IP address you will accept? DHCP server 1 or DHCP server 2? Which one? Okay, so
That.
there is a few answers are there.
Sir, is it using the time frame of the packet?
Yes, very good. Correct. Generally, if two things are giving same thing to you, like a two servers are randomly giving a same service to you, so first come, first serve. Very good. Time frame. That's the word you use, but it is meaning is first come, first serve. So I got a first I received a message from D2, so I will take the IP address from D2 only, not from D1. Okay, that's the first correct answer. Okay, so when you are two DHCP servers are there, so when DHCP servers are there, so both are try to give IP address, both are received discovery packet, but both are try to give IP address to offer to C1. But who give an IP address first? So that is based on that client will get a IP address. That is a first come, first serve basis is that one. Second one. If in case I have a domain controller, means I'm in the domain AD environment, my server is a member server. Okay, I forget before I start to when I starting, I forget to tell a few things. Of course, not to forget kind of stuff, guys. Look at here. Install a Windows Server OS into a machine or a system or a computer or a machine or a kind of stuff. So then it is a Windows server. It's just a Windows server, but that is called as a standalone server. That is a standalone server. The server which is having a Windows Server OS. That is a standalone server. Okay. Server installed with Active Directory and configured as domain controller. Okay, configured as domain controller. So what it is? It's a domain controller only. It is a domain controller. Okay, next. There is a server, means Windows server only. Server means here it is Windows operating server wise only. I'm talking. We are in a Microsoft Windows server. Okay. There is a Windows server, just empty Windows server added to a domain. Okay, added to a domain. So it means Active Directory domain. That server we call it as a member because it is a member of the domain. Member server. Member server. It means if you are not a member of any domain, you are a standalone server. If you are not a member of any domain, you are a member server. Sorry, any domain is a standalone server. If you are configured and promoted as a domain controller, you are installed and configured as a domain controller, it is you are a domain controller or additional domain controller, like that. So a domain controller, additional domain controller, like that. Okay. If you are a if your server is added to a domain, so you are a member of a domain, so you are a member server. Next, in a Windows server, I installed a DHCP server role. I installed Windows Server role and configured. What is I am a DHCP server. If I install a web server IIS, I'm a web server. If I install IIS, I'm a web server. If I install a WDS, I'm a deployment server. Okay, like this. Okay, like this it is there. But guys, look at, if in member server you install a DHCP server, it is a DHCP server, also a member server. It is you are in a domain environment, Active Directory environment. You are a web server, also you are a member server. Okay, so your Active Directory involvement is there. If you install a web server in a standalone server, no Active Directory involvement. So that is like that. The point is, DHCP server can be installed in standalone, can be installed in or a standalone member server also. Okay. Member server also we can able to install. Of course, remember guys, again I keep saying remember. This is my domain controller. This is my DHCP server. Okay, this is my DHCP server. This is member of my domain. So it automatically get authentication by Active Directory. So meaning is this is authorized DHCP server. So this is authorized DHCP server. And this is a standalone, no Active Directory kind of stuff. We are not involved in any kind of no Active Directory, no authentication, no AD authentication. Here, no AD authentication. It is unauthorized domain controller, unauthorized DHCP server, unauthorized DHCP server, also called as rogue DHCP server. You know, rogue, rascal, scoundrel, like you scold. So like that, it's a rogue nation type. Mission Impossible, Rogue Nation, Rogue DHCP server means on its own. Rogue means on its own, so nothing, there is no relationships. That is rogue, okay? So this is a domain controller. This is authorized DHCP server. How? Because of it's a member of our domain. It is a member server. It is a standalone server. No domain controller involvement, no AD authentication. So it is rogue server. So client will get IP from authorized DHCP server. So there's a two ways. One is if two same type of domain DHCP servers are there, both are authorized, or both are standalone. First come, first serve. One is authorized, one is unauthorized. Who is having a AD authorization? From there, it will take authorized DHCP server. Understand? Oh. Okay, so complete DHCP configuration. Complete DHCP configuration. If in case, if you put a cancel, no problem. You can see this flag symbol. There also you can able to open it. I'm not doing that much. Simply I click on a complete DHCP configuration. Complete DHCP configuration. So it is asking, create a security groups for a delegation of DHCP server administrator, authorize DHCP server on the target computer if domain is joined. Okay, so here it is. Click on next. It is asking administrator or any use administrator level user. It is asking credentials. So leaving like that, domain 1/administrator. You can skip authorization also. You can use different credentials also. So click on commit. So it is security groups are created and authorizing DHCP server is done. So click on a close. Then this is also completed, close. No yellow mark here. It means it is completed. Guys, that is role installation. Next, configuration part. But guys, I showed here two parts, right? One is domain controller, another is a DHCP server. But we don't have a more RAM capacities to maintain multiple servers environment. So I can't put a one virtual machine, another virtual machine, one for a domain controller, one for DHCP, one for DNS. I can't put that much of big infrastructure. So what I done, I keep doing in everything in one place only. So better not to put everything in same server. Don't put everything into same server only. But we are in a lab environment, so that's we are doing it. But in a real-time environment, or you are implementing some production related, so better to keep everything separate. Maximum 1 to 2 services are a higher. Okay, so fast. Next, again, IP address of server is important here. So it must be a static. Of course, it is a static IP address. And note down the IP address is 170.16.0.254. This is IP address. This range of IP address by generally it's a class B IP address. Total range of IP address is this is the total range. So assigned range means like this it will come up. Okay, so 1 to 254 is usable. 0 is a network ID and this is broadcast ID. So 65,534 total valid IP addresses we are getting. Okay, so this is my total number of IP addresses in this particular network. Okay, so I'm not doing that much. I'm doing very simple. First of all, I have to plan for a scope. So how many IP addresses? What are the range of IP address? Scope means range. Range I will design first. My range is 10 to 110. So totally I will get 100 IP address. Actually 101 IP address. Next, out of this range, I want to exclude some IP address. Okay, so I don't want to assign certain IP address to in the network. The first range is 172.16.0.10 to 15 IP addresses. I don't want to So I will use it for a different purpose. And after that one, I like some IP addresses. So then also don't want to give those IP addresses to anyone. Just for one single IP also we can block it, just for representation purpose only. Guys, it is not really you should do like this. It is not there. It is completely based on your server IP address. This is my server IP. Okay, my server IP address. Okay. And it is a static IP address. The network range, this is the some part of total network. I have taken 100 IP addresses because my network is less than 100. Okay, I exclude some IP addresses, that is completely your wish. I exclude some something different like a I exclude 55. Okay, like this. This is the configuration, and of course I have my DNS server kind of stuff. Everything will come up. I want to put my scope name is yeah, so B15 scope. This is my scope name. Okay, the range of the scope is starting and ending IP address is like this. This is an exclude range. This is specific IP excluded. So we'll see how to do it. Go to tools, DHCP. Okay, DHCP. Carefully do it, guys. Server side now, so sometimes two times is difficult. I open DHCP. WinS1 domain1.com. Yes. IPv4. Here it is. Nothing is there. It is asking add a scope. The scope is not yet added. You have to create your own scope only. Right click on IPv4 new scope. Right click on IPv4 new scope. Then it is will ask like this. New scope is at scope name. Okay, guys, first of all, what to do, what I have to do, you have to do as per me or you have to do as per you. It is not like that. First thing is plan and implement. Okay, next, what is the IP address range, starting IP address and ending IP address? My plan is 170.16.0. Then 1 second, wait. Sorry, small delay. Not of course. So what is my destination means ending? Yes. This is start range, end range, length, subnet mask. You guys understand this point?
Yes, sir.
Sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. This is add exclusions. So in exclusions, so my plan is first 6 are excluded just for fun. Just that is not a compulsory. We can exclude a range of IP address, and also we can exclude a single IP address. Also we can exclude. Maybe some people get, sir, it is very important. Is it very important to exclude is important? No, no, no. Okay. It is just to understand. We can exclude a range of IP addresses, and also we can exclude a single IP address also. Okay. So what is the meaning? You can read it this one also. You can understand what it is. When our DHCP server releasing offers, in the offer, you don't give these IP addresses to client in offer itself. Next, this is the lease duration. I will explain the lease duration. Currently, the default lease is 80 days is lease duration. I'm changing to 0 days. The minutes are 8 minutes. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Lease duration. The minutes are 8 minutes. Okay. But you can use 8 days also. No problem. No problem. You are practical. Okay. There is something which is I want to tell, but for that one only I put 8 minutes. Okay. Lease duration. By default, it is 80 days. Default lease duration. Configuring options. What is configuring the options? You can configure default gateways, DNS servers, Win server if you have it. Yes, I want to configure it. Default gateways. I don't have any default gateway. No configuration. DNS server. Myself, I am a DNS server. Already it is there. If in case you have multiple DNS servers, name servers are there, you can tell their name server name, and if you click on resolve, automatically IP address will come here and click add. Like that, you can able to add it yourself, or otherwise you can add your manually. If you want, you can add some DNS server. So just for fun, I'm adding it. It is not a compulsory also, guys. So like this, you can give 2 DNS servers IP addresses. This is a preferable secondary, third, 4, 5, like this also. Not a one DNS server, multiple DNS servers also. You can give it to the client, depends upon your requirement. But what is this 8.8.8? It is like a default DNS server type. It means if you don't know where is your DNS server, you can use like that. Win server, currently we are not using Win servers. Windows Internet Naming Services. That is like a DNS server type only. Okay. Now we are not using Win servers. Next. Yes, I want to activate this scope now. Finish. Now we are completed. If you see, there is a blue mark. It means it is configured, but not completely active. So very simple. Click on IPv4 and refresh. Then it shows green check mark. If it is showing a black color or red color, there is a something not good. Okay. So compulsory check the scope and all. Guys, understand how to create a scope? If you want, I will create it for you again. If you understand, okay. If you don't understand, I will delete and create again.
So once create again, sir.
Okay. So okay, so I deleted. First of all, check your IP address. What is your IP address? Don't change your IP address. Make sure it is static IP, which we are configured earlier. Next, your scope must be in your network range only. In that one, I planned like this. This is my server IP address. So I want to create a IP address range in my network range only. So out of this, I took this range and I planned for my scope name. This is my scope range. Exclusions I created for a 10 to 15 and one IP address like this. So now tell me, I will close this one also. So I've opened DHCP, Server Manager, Tools, DHCP. Next steps you have to tell expand.
Right click first.
Right click on IP4.
New scope.
Right click on IP4 and add a scope.
Here,
Next
New scope.
name.
Next. What to give the name to that? 172.16.0.10.
110. 0110.
110, 100. Don't change this one. If you are doing some subnetting concepts, then only we can able to change it. This is by default subnet.
Chip fast ఏంటో
Okay. Exclusion 10 to 15.
అయ్యో V20 Pro ఇదిగో V20 Pro ఎక్సలెంటర్ మొన్నే దిగింది అది దానికి ఏం చూడక్కర్లేదు
Just mute and talk. Who's talking? Manoj.
ఇప్పుడు తీసుకుందామని
Okay. Start range. So I'm excluded 10 to 15 and 55 also. Next. Days, it is by default 8 days. So I change it to 8 minutes lease duration. Lease duration. Next, configure options. Yes. No default gateway. No problem. Next. DNS server, automatically it is find my DNS server because my server itself a DNS server. Okay. Otherwise, you have to type your DNS server name, resolve, you will get it. Next, Win server. Yeah, just before I added an extra IP address here. If you want, you can add it like that. No problem if you don't add it. Because we have our DNS server here. Win server, we don't have. Activate the scope. Activate this scope. Otherwise, your scope won't work. Can I do finish? Or do you want to see once? Yes.
Yes, sir.
Now
Sir,
it is showing
the
some.
lease period expire. What will happen, sir?
What happened? Lease period is expires. What happened? Yeah, I will tell that one. Very good. Okay. So here it is. Address pool 10 to 110 and exclusion 10 to 15 and 55 is excluded. So the first IP address will be released from the 16. Okay. Address list is to whom I am distribute the IP address. It shows here. Okay. This is my DHCP server. DHCP server distribute IP address to everyone, those who are connected in the network and those who are DHCP clients. Okay, those who are connected in the network, it won't give. Also, they should be Also they should be DHCP clients, then only it will distribute. When when server is distributing IP address to the clients, it will note down. For example, you are a server and you give an IP address to the system. What you will do? You note down, this is the server, this is the machine. I given this IP address. So you note down on the PC, right? So the client no need to be in the domain. Anyone, those who are connected in the network, and those must be DHCP clients. So automatically it is already released first IP address. But what I'm going to do is, this is the client. Guys, when you do this client side, you may get an error because of VMware Workstation application. VMware Workstation application. So you may get an error because of VMware Workstation application. Okay, so then compulsory you have to follow few things to do it. Again, your background screen. Okay, so the thing is, look at here. This is my server. This is the client. Again, to communicate between two machines, what we require, they should connect physically. Okay, first of all, they should connect physically, right? They must connect it to same physical switch. Physically means the physical connection must be there. Now we don't have any physical network switch kind of stuff. Here it is, right? So my S1 is connecting VMnet 1, and yes, my C1 is should be connected to VMnet 1. So make sure that both are in a VMnet 1. Okay, first thing, both must be connected to same switch. But we are using a VMware Workstation. Look at here, VMware Workstation. Okay, so we go to VMware Workstation. So here it is. Your VMware Workstation application also provide a DHCP service. VMware Workstation also provide a DHCP service. So because of that, you will get an IP address from VMware Workstation also. Okay. So this your VMware DHCP distribute IP address to the client and the server, whatever it is, to the machines. They try to distribute to everyone. If you are connected to VMnet 1. So this is a one problem, you will get it. Even though your server is a DHCP server, okay, your server is DHCP server, you have a static, so no problem with this one, but client should be in the client is a DHCP client. I will change it to DHCP client. What will happen? Instead of getting an IP address from your server, you will get an IP address from your VMware Workstation. Okay, the first point is both machines should be connected to same network. same switch, same network concept. Second one is make sure no other DHCP service run. Make sure no other DHCP services run to get an output. Otherwise, what happen? You are giving an IP address and someone is also giving an IP address. It may confuse your network. Okay, so how to do it? So go to your server, edit, virtual network editor, virtual network editor. Yes, okay, virtual network editor. This is VMnet1. Okay, so change settings, make sure it is showing a connected, of course. Okay, VMnet1, look at VMnet1. Okay, VMnet1 host only, otherwise I'll minimize background thing. VMnet1 host only, connected, no DHCP kind of stuff. If you put this one, DHCP enabled. In your system, it's showing DHCP enabled, VMnet1, DHCP enabled. Uncheck this option. Uncheck this. So it should show like this. VMnet1 host only and connected. Okay, and connected, and uncheck this one. Apply. Okay. So there is other solutions also there. It means you can disable. You can disable permanently. You can disable the DHCP service. Okay. So look at here. This must be a check mark, and this check mark. This is no check mark. Okay. Keep it like this. No check mark. Okay. So no enabled, connected. So like this, try. Okay, click OK, apply. Next, make sure both the machines are connected to VMnet1. Of course, they are connected because we are working on it. So my server is in VMnet1. My client. Again, go to client. It's also in a VMnet1. Okay, so that's it. Okay, so both are must be connected and no additional services, additional DHCP servers in your network. Okay, that is very important here. Yeah, finally, guys, tell me how to change, how to make yourself like a DHCP client. Go to ncpa.cpl. Okay, so details. DHCP enabled no means it is a static IP address. DHCP enabled no means it's a static IP address. DHCP enabled no means it's a static IP address. Now, how to make it is yes.
Properties,
Very good.
IPv4,
Properties, IPv4, properties.
Automatic, obtain
Very
automatic IP.
Very good. Obtain IP address automatically. We are in a domain. It will ask domain admin, any domain admin account and their password. Okay, so that's that. Okay, so go to properties. Then it will show IPv4. Then go to IPv4 properties. Now you can see it is a use following IP address means manual. Obtain IP address automatically means it is dynamic. So you are getting IP address from DHCP server. Okay, it means first option. You want to configure yourself an IP address. It's a manual IP address. Second option. Okay, obtain IP address automatically. Obtain DNS server automatically. Because also I will get a DNS server. If you observe, this tab is open only when I select the first option. If I select the second option, the tab is disappearing. Meaning is, it is alternate configuration. If you are failed to get IP address from DHCP server, you have to do some, it will do some alternate configuration. So that is it. Obtain IP address automatically, click OK, close. Okay, close. Again. Details. So you got a DHCP enabled, yes. So now I am a DHCP client. I got an IP address from IP address is 170.16.0.17 subnet mask. When I got an IP address, when it will be expire. I didn't mention any default gateway in my configuration, nothing is there. So who is my DHCP server? 170.16.254. So this is my DHCP server. So who is my DNS server? 170.16.254. That is my DNS server. Okay, guys, this is your DHCP practical.
So what about lease period?
I will tell. See, it is when you release an IP address. So obviously we'll note down in the list. So you can see address release. Okay, address release. You'll see the IP addresses. Those who got a IP address. So I will note down in the list. And also I will note down expiry also. Okay, expiry also. So this is our practical is completed. Our main practical is completed. What is the practical? So install DHCP server, configure DHCP server, release the IP address to the client, and get the IP address at a client. That part is completed. Okay. Yes. Guys, I'm continuing just because two practicals means one explanation, one more practical is there, then complete DHCP thing will be completed. No, it won't complete like that. But still I will tell. What is lease duration? No. That's it. Lease duration I will tell.